Today we're talking about buying that residential property with your heart. We're actually bringing out some truths, peel back the layers of all this fluff.
Shining the light on this industry as a whole.
Maybe you should stay away from it. Hi everybody, welcome to Real Estate Raw&Uncut. This is episode 155. I'm Byron Lazine, he's Tim Bray, and this good-looking guy is Robert Ruth, senior mortgage banker. We're gonna call him Bob because we're tight like that.
The Bob.
Bob, thanks for being on Raw&Uncut.
Thank you.
We just did a little radio show. If you haven't checked that out, you can always do so. 949newsnow.com, and coming soon on seaportre.com. You'll be able to check out the podcast radio show weekly. And we just had a call in the last segment that kind of ties right into this topic. What do you call it? Passion
purchase.
Passion purchase. So we had a gentleman that called in. He bought a deal in 2012, and there's 30 acres. It's a unique property.
Oh, I thought we were talking about a consignment store.
No, well, we could talk about that. But there was 2 homes on one property. It was a unique He said the words, "I stole it," on the radio. I said, "You stole it, man." Well,
what'd you pay for it?
What'd you pay? Oh, so you paid $215? So you didn't steal it. You paid $215 for the property.
I see this a lot though. But it happens more often than not. Let's think about this. Like if you live in Boston, for example, and you know that commute, everything is just, it's days are crazy because you're spending an hour commuting, you're driving 3 miles, and it's taking forever. Your taxes are $25,000 for maybe a condo, and then all of a sudden you get out and you come to Connecticut and you see these properties, and maybe it's overpriced, and everybody's telling you it's overpriced, but you're like, look, in comparison to what I've got here in Boston, I got to just have it. I don't care if you say it's overpriced. It's a passion purchase.
Yep.
So you're saying people throw caution to the wind.
They do.
And they just go ahead and buy something.
They do.
Well, I think to Tim's point, when you've gone into a new location and you're feeling good for a week or 2 weeks, like maybe you're on vacation or something, and you're like, wow, the deals over here are so good, like and you don't pay attention to value. Like everyone that is one of our sellers that moves out of state, I'm going to Florida, or I'm going to the Carolinas or Tennessee, wherever they're going. My advice is always, do me a favor and rent for a year. I'm not interested in a referral fee for your purchase because you should be renting for a year.
Get to know the area.
Have you lived there before? No, but we vacation there. Oh, okay. So
get to know the area.
You were feeling pretty good on vacation,
right?
Or were you working on that vacation, right? Know the area. Spend a year driving around, getting involved in the community, because then you're going to figure out what a value is, where you want to live.
Yeah, I completely agree.
What's happening now, what I think, with the market being pretty good, it's getting better locally, and I know across the country in some areas it's very good, that the price points that are moving, people are just almost like, I got to buy, right?
Well, they have to buy, actually.
Using emotion or passion more often.
And I think what Tim said, using the example of Boston, I think somebody comes from an area like Boston, they made this huge gain on the sale of their property, and they're saying, okay, even if the property has some issues, I got the money, I can do it, I'm flush. And actually, that can be really a disturbing situation they get themselves into because, they second guess or they don't really pay attention to some of the structural issues in a house, for example, and then they move in the house and they find out, wow, it takes a lot more than they thought to fix this.
To their defense, though, if it is a lifestyle property and they're using it for their own utility, maybe it's a beach house, maybe it's, they would have gone on vacations and now they're using this. Yeah, even if they paid too much, just know that if it provided a lifestyle that, was what you were searching for,
right,
just know it going in.
You have to, if you know, like going back to the caller on the radio show, if you know that not a large population is looking for properties like this, not a large percentage of the market rather is looking for these properties every day, so you're going to be marketing to a smaller piece of the market when you sell. Always be thinking about the time when you sell. What's your exit strategy? Even if it's a residential home, a commercial property, how am I going to get rid of this property if I need to move on from it? am I going to be marketing to a lot of people, or am I going to be looking for a very unique buyer? If I'm looking for a unique buyer and I'm buying with my heart, that could be a formula for disaster.
And you just remember, you never sell right. You always buy right. That's how you set yourself
on
up.
retional.
Yeah,
real
absolutely.
estate.
You always buy right. That's what sets it up.
That's a great point. There's an old adage. There's more fools among buyers than among sellers.
Right. I think.
So if you buy right, like you're saying, you're setting up the future.
That's right.
You're doing everything.
I do think. Here's where I'll differ a little bit. I think it is tough to quote unquote buy right residential markets. People are usually buying a home for utility, and that doesn't always line up with where the market is.
Right.
But it does come back to location. If you buy at the top of a market, but you have a phenomenal location, one that people are going to desire in a good market and a bad market, then
you minimize your risk.
You're minimizing your risk. Your ability to move on from that property is greater than someone buying a very, very unique property.
What about if you're going to stay in the property longer? So if you make
your risk declines.
Your risk declines the longer you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly right.
I just don't know. I mean, people. What'd you say? How many millennial buyers right now?
34%.
Our millennials.
Our millennials. So that's a large chunk, and a lot of these buyers have never owned a home.
That's right.
Right. Some of them have, some of them haven't. If you've never owned a home and you don't know what that entails, you might think you know, right? A lot of times the statement is, "Well, I'm going to be here for a long time."
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because most of the millennials that I've worked with in the last 2 or 3 years, their intention is to stay 7 to 10 plus years in the house. When I bought my house, I never thought I'd be in the house more than 3 to 5 years.
Right.
Because that's what people do in this country. But I think the millennials, because they waited longer to buy their first house, they're getting their careers going, they're paying off their debt, they're getting positioned, more experiencing life, finding out where they want to work, what they want to do. Now, and I think they're smart for waiting. Now they're putting their toe in the market, and they probably won't make a passion purchase.
But I think some people, because life changes, then you get divorced, then you have a second kid, then you have a third, right?
Absolutely.
Like, I got a fantastic deal on a property, and we have one kid now, and I'm like, well, geez, if we had 2 kids, man, things start
change.
getting tight around here. I start tripping on things. I don't like to trip on things.
Right. That Amazon thing's coming in every day with more toys.
Another shipment on the pallet from Amazon.
Exactly.
So I think buying with your heart takes really, really, big time perspective. You've got to know what you're getting yourself into. If you're comfortable losing money on your exit because you enjoyed this property for a 7-year period, maybe it was a beach property, or maybe you were up in the mountain, like some type of second home, or it's just the place you wanted to live while you were working in a certain area for 7 years. If you're comfortable knowing that, hey, I could lose money on this deal, then that's cool. But you really got to understand how many buyers were interested in this property when I bought it. How much of the marketplace valued this property when I bought it?
These are important questions. The larger the risk. That's it.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time. If you've got a comment or a passion property you'd like to share, drop it below. See ya.